Hey there, beautiful people. I hope you are having a creative day. In the last video, we talked about how to use repeater in Wix Studio. I showed you how to use CSS Grid, how to make the repeater responsive, among other things. In this video, we will talk about the padding and the margin, which are one of the most important settings in Wix Studio or any other website builder in general. So let's talk about these things. What are the margin and the padding and how to use them? So first off, let's talk about the padding. And I'm going to show you this with an example. That will be much easier. Let's add an image like this and set its responsive behavior to stretch so it covers the entire section. Now, what padding does is that it creates a space from the edges of the container and the elements inside it. So if I apply a padding to this section, it will create some distance between its edges and the element, which is the image right here. So select the section and go to the layout settings. And right here, you have the padding. So let's say I'm adding 5% like this. And now we have some empty space right here. Okay, so this area and this area right here is the padding of this section, 5% of the overall width. And this helps you create some space from the edges. Okay, so this makes sure that there is some distance from the edges of your website. The padding is exclusive to the containers and design elements, the layout tools like section, the cells, the repeater items, and the CSS grids, and so on. Okay, so you will find these settings in these type of layout tools. The padding is not available for elements, let's say like image right here. You don't have any padding. All right. So this is how you can use padding. You can similarly select the section and add some top and bottom padding as well. So I can add 5% like this. And now you have some empty space. All right. So this is what padding does. It creates the space between the edges and the elements inside the section or container or whatever you are using. In the padding settings, you can either set the value for horizontal to both sides at once, like let's say 20 pixel, all right? Or you can edit them individually. So you have to click this option, edit in pairs, and then add individual values. So let's say I want to add 40 pixel on top and 80 pixel to bottom. Okay, so you can either edit them together or individually in pairs. After that, we have some scaling option right here. Okay, and this is for when you want to consider the scale of the padding. So first off, we have the scale, and basically what a scale does is that when you let's add the scale right here, like this. All right, the scale changes its width, its padding, the value according to the viewport width. So if I change the breakpoint size, it will also change the padding size as well. Right. So if I go to, let's say, tablet, on top we still have 40 pixel, but right now if I go to the padding, you can see that we just have 48. All right. So the scale option will change, but the pixel will not. Okay, so on top we have the pixel, as you can see, and in the bottom we have the scale. So the scale will change according to the breakpoint size. In the mobile, we just have 24 pixel. So if you want to add a consistent value on all breakpoints, you should use the pixel. And if you want to change the padding according to the breakpoint size, you can choose the scale. Then we have the percent. The percent is good for the side paddings. Okay, so in the previous example, I set it to 5%. And this is default for many of the Wix's templates. You will see a lot of 5% values for the paddings. So yeah, that's a good value as well. But yeah, this is how you can use the padding to create some space from the edges of your layout tool. Similarly, you can use the container. If I use a container here, you will find the padding as well right here. Okay, so you can add 5% here as well, like this. The same goes for the top and bottom as well. All right, so this is how you can use the padding in all of your layout tools. Now let's add a text right here, okay? But as you can see now, I can still go in the empty area where we have added the padding. Okay, so for example, this text is still going in the empty section right here, and that is because of the margin. So let's talk about the margin. What is the margin and what it does? The margin is the space outside an element's border. Okay, so now we are not talking about the layout tools like the section. Now we are talking about individual elements. So for the individual elements like this text or the image, we have the margin, and the margin is the space outside the element's border. It creates a buffer between the element and the other elements or the edges of the parent container. In this case, we have the section. The parent container of this text is the section. So if you scroll down here, you will find the margins right here. Okay, so as you can see, we have the margin. Let's set it to 0. Let's set it to 0 as well. And it creates a distance, a space between the elements as well as the element and the container. So you can add any distance you want, let's say 80 pixel on top. So it will create 80 pixel distance. You can see it in a dotted lines. Okay, so the dotted line here is the margin. Similarly, you can add it to the side as well. All right, so now we will have the 80 pixel distance right here. Similar to the padding, you can change the scale. So let's say I want to change its scale to pixel, and on top we have the scales. If I go to the tablet, we will have different margin value for top and the side. Okay, so we have 80 and 48. And if I go to the mobile, we have 24 and 80. All right, so that's the same thing for the padding and the margin. The margin will add a space from the element, and the padding will add a space from the edges of the container or any layout tool. Another important setting for the any element here is the docking. So right here we have the dock and undock feature. Right. So what you can do is you can assign this element and dock it to the left side, and now the margin will be calculated from the this edge. Okay. Similarly, you can dock to the right, and now the margin will change in this section. So we have 504 pixel from the right edge. Okay, so this is the margin. And when you align the element like this, your element will be undocked from all the sides. All right. So the margin and padding are really helpful in creating space from the elements and the edges. Um, the best practice is to use the multiples of a certain value. So let's say you are designing this website. Let's select this container, for example. You can see that on the side we have a padding of 5%. So I will keep it consistent for my entire website like this. Okay, so this will make sure that your design is consistent and it appears like in symmetry. And for the top and bottom margin, I will suggest you use the multiples of a certain value. So for example, right here we have 40 pixel. So you can use, let's say, multiples of 20. Right here, if you want to add some other element, let's say you don't want to um, use the stretch and use the scale proportionally. Let's align it to top and center. So in this case, let's say you don't want to create this much space. The value can be either 20 pixel or if you are using some large element like the image, you can add 80 pixel. What I mean to say is use a multiple of a certain number like 10, 20, 30, 40, or 8 pixel, 16 pixel, 24 pixel. Depending on the importance of the element, you can add that kind of margin and padding. But use a multiple that will make sure that your design is consistent and is symmetric. But yeah, this is how you use the margin and padding in Wix Studio. Do some more experiment with the scales. The important ones are pixel and scale, but you can also use the percentage for the side padding. The viewport height is the VH, and the viewport width is the VW. VH basically means 100 VH means the entire height of your viewport. Okay, so the entire area is equal to 100 VH and 100 VW in height and width, respectively. So use these elements in your design and make sure to always stack elements together. If I haven't told you that already, make sure to hold Shift, select both these elements like this and stack them like this. This will make sure that your elements are always together, and it will make sure that your design is always responsive as well. So make sure to use the margin and padding in your website. I hope you learned something. Thanks for watching.